Welcome to Disturbed. We are talking Season 6, Episode 3, Chapter 3. The names on this are amazing. They give so many clues as to what's going on. I am...
Go ahead,
what? No, go ahead.
I was going to, at least they let us know the number. They don't just say next episode.
That helps me, that's for sure. So I'm Rob Southgate. With me is...
Chris Mao.
Hey, Chris. Hey, long time no chat.
Yeah, at least, we didn't talk for 15 straight hours the other day, but that's okay.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we're not going to do that tonight. Okay. Up front, real quick, social media. If you want to tweet with us, it's @DisturbedPod. We also have a Pinterest page for Disturbed Podcast. If you go to Southgate Media Group, you can find the Pinterest page for Disturbed Podcast there. We are actually working on something new. I don't know if it'll work on this, but we're working on getting a voicemail so you can call in with voicemail. But in the meantime, if you have questions, if you have comments, put them on our Facebook page, Disturbed Podcast, tweet them to us. We'll talk about them. If you have theories, if you have ideas, put it out there. We are definitely on board with all of that. Okay, Chris?
Yes, sir.
What are your first thoughts on this one?
Oh, what the,
what the? That's a good one.
I love when they have, the first two episodes have been tame, but with a lot of meat to it. And then they just threw all the meat on the fire this time. That's the way I'm going to look at it. They just,
they really kind of did.
This isn't going to be about this. This isn't.
No one's naming Mason here.
This isn't going to be about this. Oh, it's about this. They set the tone, and they really fleshed out Kathy Bates's character, which was awesome. They showed some cracks in the main people's kind of togetherness. I thought it was just great. So
you know what? I am digging this season so much. And it's funny because the last episode I was like, that was one of the most outstanding episodes they've had of the series. Like, it just really did a lot for me. This one, I think, topped it.
Well, this was a very American Horror Story type episode.
It really was.
The first two have been very horror film type episodes. Like, hey, we're just going to scare the bejesus out of you. Here you go. And especially that second one. And then they just brought in, the hatchets and the blood and the sex and all of that stuff. And here you go. So,
all those American Horror Story elements were all there.
And our first legitimate tie-in to another show without any supposition, without anything, was right there in the Cricket character.
What?
Because Cricket says he's from New Orleans and he's a psychic.
Oh, I didn't think of it in those terms.
Right.
I was looking for characters, but he's going to have something to say about what we experienced with Coven, for sure.
I mean, it's coming because there's already witchcraft going on with Lady Gaga's character. And I know, did we talk about it on the show, or did we talk it in private, where we thought maybe she was the Countess? I don't think she's a Countess. I think she's...
Yeah, I don't think so either.
She's a witch that's going to definitely tie into,
It wasn't you and I that had thought that. It was something that we were seeing online. I think somebody may have even tweeted it on our Twitter. And both of us had said that didn't sound right, but it was a theory that was floating out there.
Sure.
I've also heard the theory that the Kathy Bates character was going to turn out to be that character. It's not at all.
No, not at all.
But
she's outstanding. She is so good with her voices and her dialects. Yeah, her dialects. With that kind of Scottish Old English kind of. It's just crazy good.
Yeah. No, she's nailed it as usual. You know what? It's going to be half the show talking about how good the acting is on this. This is just outstanding. I mean, everybody's killing it. This one went really deep down the weird rabbit hole.
Yes.
If we think about the last two episodes, we're getting all these things that are a little bit more typical of ghost stories, horror stories. Yeah, they were cool. Yeah, they were getting deep. The bunker and all that stuff. It's reminding us of Conjuring and things like that.
Right.
All of a sudden here we have these little, what I'm assuming are little inbred kids nursing on a pig covered in filth. We haven't seen that before.
No.
That was, I don't know about you, but when that happened, it was like, my mind was blown.
Right.
It's like, number one, how did they think of it? Number two, that's one of those ideas where you're like, hey, we should do this. They did it. It's crazy.
Well, and then they say this one word. I had no idea what it was, even though that's what I suspected it was. But
what was the word? I couldn't decipher.
Croatoan. So
is that what they were saying?
So that is what they're saying, because they tie into, you see how it comes up later in the episode. Now I'm drawing kind of a blank. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired, but somebody keeps saying that word. And I think that was Cricket said the word Croatoan.
Yeah, Cricket definitely said Croatoan.
Cricket said it. So the whole thing about Croatoan,
wasn't he yelling it? Wasn't he yelling it? Was when he was in the house, and he yelled it out when all the windows went out? Croatoan.
Right. So what allegedly had happened is that when they found the colony empty, the Indians went there, and in order to ward off all of the evil spirits, they carved the word Croatoan in, which is supposed to be one of their shamans' ways of dispelling the evil spirits.
Right.
And that word is supposed to have magic power, and it's supposed to dispel the evil spirits. That's why Cricket said it. That's why the kids say it, to dispel the evil spirits, or to at least block them from there.
Right. And that's what he said was I can't think. Matt said, this is, I didn't realize it was a warning. Yeah. I didn't realize it was, and it wasn't a warning from what you're saying. It was more of a dispelling the evil, but still they could take it as a warning. Like, there is evil here. Why are these kids yelling this? Okay. I want to get into this before we get further down here, because frankly, we've mentioned him already. I think the greatest addition to this season, possibly the greatest character ever to appear on American Horror Story, debuted. Cricket is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I will take the Cricket spinoff show. They better not kill Cricket by the end of the series. I want Cricket to be around. And the thing is, I don't want every season to have Cricket, but maybe Cricket is your glue. Because when this guy showed up,
oh, he's fantastic.
We were both watching it. Martha and I are watching it. And I think that was the moment for her, because she hasn't watched the series. We talked about it before, how she wasn't as, into it. She watched it last week with me, thought it was creepy. When I said I was going to be watching it for this, she was like, oh, well, I'll stay there and watch. But it wasn't that like, I'm engaged watch. It was more like, I'm interested.
Sure.
Cricket comes on. It was like, all eyes went on the screen for the rest of the episode, because Cricket's amazing.
How Poltergeist was Cricket.
Didn't you think that immediately?
I saw him walk in. He's like, oh, this house. I'm like, it's totally Poltergeist. I'm waiting. Yeah,
I actually wanted to hear him squeak and slosh like the woman who played her in Poltergeist when she was 16 Candles. I wanted that to happen when he walked around. Everything. The hair, the voice, the demeanor. When he flipped on him and he asked for the $25,000.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I totally got what was going on. And I love, of course, Matt's reaction is, you're trying to con us. Right. And Lee is like falling apart at this. But how else is Cricket going to make money? And Cricket, this is his business.
Right.
Does it seem crazy to us? Yeah, because he does say, hey, you could save a kid's life, and you're trying to put a dollar amount on it. And it's like, yeah, but there is a value to what he's doing.
Absolutely. And he seems legit.
He seems legit.
He seems legit. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he definitely
he is psychic.
Yes.
Or psychotic. Because if what we're seeing is real, if that's not the reenactment, which they're saying it's the reenactment, if it is, then we don't know if he's real. Okay. Right. If we are seeing what he's seeing, if that's being presented to us, we're like, this is really what he's seeing, then he is real, because he was interacting with Kathy Bates. Sure. He was seeing everything that was going on.
Right.
Now, if it turns out that that's not, that he's a charlatan, that could be part of what the twist is.
And it's even better then.
We don't know. But if that was reality that we're seeing, I think that he's completely legit, and he certainly has reason to ask for that money.
Right. Well, here's a bad little sign. They're not interviewing Cricket on the reenactment. So,
did you notice that too? They're only interviewing the three.
Right. Well, you thought they were going to interview the ex-husband, but unfortunately, he's a barbecue spit.
Did you know it was him when they showed him?
Well, I knew it wasn't a kid because it was huge.
First, when they called, they're saying when they found something, I was like, okay, it's not going to be the kid, because Priscilla said, we're killing you last. So I'm like, okay, they're not going to like kill the kid, and then you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? No, they set up a rule. They're not going to break this rule. They're going to kill everybody.
Right.
And then this girl, what's her name? Flora is last. If they get to kill her, they may not. She may come out of the bunker or whatever and be fine, and everybody else is dead. Could be. Okay.
Right.
If it's linear. Okay. There was no way that was going to be her, but I did not think Mason at all. What I thought was we were seeing the body that we saw earlier when Kathy Bates was putting the piggy on it, you know? Right. And I thought, okay, that's what we're seeing. Or maybe it was Dennis O'Hare.
Uh-huh.
So when they said it was Mason, like my notes have can't really see it, big exclamation points about it being Mason. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
Yeah, I mean,
did you think in any way it was him?
I didn't think they were going to kill him, but I think something was going to happen, especially the way he reacted.
Yeah, but I didn't think that burned up body was him.
Well, I didn't really have any preconceived notions. It kind of came up to me quick. The first thing I saw to go, it isn't the girl. So it was either going to be Mason or one of the hillbilly guys. And I didn't think it was going to be one of them. And the deputy is there. So, I didn't know who it was going to be. And I guess I didn't place a whole lot of, there was so much going on in my mind. I didn't care that Mason was dead. I don't care. I really don't care that he's dead. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. No, I get you. I don't really care either. I thought he was great. I thought it was a good character. He's not the reason I'm watching the show. Okay. What do you make? Yeah, I know there's so much, man.
Yes.
What do you make of Lee leaving 15 minutes after Mason and coming back 4 hours later?
So we've seen, at least in this show, we saw two examples of people not doing what they should normally do, in Lee leaving and coming back, and in Matt doing his thing with Lady Gaga at the very end, where they seem like they've been possessed and they have no idea what it is about that.
Yeah, so, Matt had no clue. So that could be. I'm thinking
if Lee did it, and I'm not saying that she did, she may not have, that it was her being possessed by the Lady Gaga spirit. And, to go back to my theory earlier, we think that Kathy Bates is the big bad. I don't think Kathy Bates is a big bad. I think Lady Gaga is a big bad, if not somebody else is the really evil person here, and they're just playing with all of these little toys on the.
I think you're right. I think Lady Gaga is a pawn, not a pawn, but she is a tool of whatever the big bad is. I think we're being led to think Kathy Bates, then we're being led to think Lady Gaga.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think we haven't had the reveal yet. What if it's Evan Peters? What if he's Piggy and it turns out Piggy is really the big bad?
I don't know. Well, it seemed like, when they did the whole pig head thing, that was a punishment, that it was somebody being punished for stealing or doing something against the colony. Because that makes a lot of sense. This is Kathy Bates. That scene was Kathy Bates after she gave her soul to Lady Gaga, after she gave her soul to the devil, whatever you want to interpret that as. And that's what she did after that. So
I also, knowing this show, I also would be very surprised if Lady Gaga is the big bad, and I'll tell you why. She was the big bad last season.
Right. They're not going to do it 2 years in a row with her. So
no. And they're not going to make her a similar type of big bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though she's not a vampire, she's whatever this demon thing is. I have a feeling that she is a puppet to whatever this is. Her role is to gather the souls and possess them and do their stuff. Kathy Bates is to be the hammer, the heavy. I wonder if we start analyzing what they are, if there is some other correlation to this, almost like the Seven Rings of Hell or the mortal sins. I wonder if as we're getting revealed, we could start equating them to some of these. Oh, hey, I wanted to talk about something else. Something that stood out to me this time, the window. To me, I keep looking at those windows, right?
Right.
There was a shot outside of the house. That window looked like a heart.
It does. It's an upside down heart. Right.
No, going up. And when they were inside, it looked like an upside down heart. Right. So I wonder if there's even something in that. You know what I mean?
Well, Danette said, and I don't know if Danette's on, I don't have it up on, I don't have the chat room up, but that the front of the house has the hearts going down and the back has it up, or one way or the other. So maybe that's just the view.
So maybe that's just what it is? Okay.
Maybe that's just what it is, but I still think that when it goes down, bad stuff's happening, and when it goes up is good stuff. I don't know.
All right. Oh, Danette is here. So hey, Danette.
Hi, Danette.
I'm asking if Lady Gaga is the big bad. Let's see what people say when they're on here. I tend to not think she is. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be something else because there has to be. Like you were saying, I think that's a great call that they don't do that twice. Although they did that with, wasn't Jessica Lange pretty much the heavy a couple times?
She wasn't. I mean, like she wasn't in the first season. She was she in the second season? She was in the third season.
She was definitely in 3 and 4.
No, not in 4.
She was.
She wasn't the heavy. Oh, I disagree. I think that the villains were like, there were multiple. I think that she was a freak. I think the ones that weren't freaks that were the big bads, which would be Chickless, I think was a big bad.
Dennis O'Hare?
And Dennis O'Hare was absolutely a big bad. They were killing the freaks.
Right.
And she was not. She was misusing them and abusing them for her own gain, but she also had been misused and abused. Sure. She was part of the freak show, just like in the other ones. She was the big bad in 3.
Yes.
She was not any other time. She was a bad, just as Kathy Bates has been too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think it would be interesting if Kathy Bates had been the big bad, but I'm glad she's not. I don't think she is. I think she's terrible.
Yes.
I think she's an awful thing.
Yeah, but she's been that. I mean, she wasn't in Freak Show. She wasn't in Hotel.
Right.
She was in Coven.
Yes. Right.
And that was the first one she was in, and she's definitely in this one. So she she gets that.
And I think that they might be doing, like you said, that if Lady Gaga is a witch, let's say, I think that they might really be making Coven their connective tissue throughout. We are seeing elements of first season. We are seeing things that are reminding us, just like we did last season, we were seeing these things. But since we had the one character, we had a Queenie last season, and now we're getting a little bit of this mystical witchcraft stuff again. Wouldn't it be interesting if the rumored cameo of Jessica Lange showed up and she was the character from 3?
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
And
she has to the witches somehow.
She has the confrontation with Cricket.
Right.
Cricket. When he showed up, Martha goes, "Hey, look, Elton John's on." That's awesome.
It did kind of have that wig is fantastic, and
it's so great.
Walking around with the cane and being all kind of
cane with the frog on it. Yeah. And you wonder, you start thinking about that, like what is all the symbolism there? Sure. Crickets are eaten by frogs. Why is he got a frog on his cane? Is there anything to it? It might just be these New Orleans, they eat frog legs.
Right.
We don't know. Or the fridge. There are fridge there.
Yes.
So
yeah, he's what a fantastic character. What a great role to play. I'm sure Dennis O'Hare would have loved to play that role, but he wouldn't look the part. Even if he put that wig on, he's not, I think Cricket does have to be that kind of smallish, definitely like the lady in Poltergeist. Gotta have that
make a sloshing sound. She's got I want the whole thing, man.
That'd be great, but I don't know where they're going with this. I mean, from the trailer where they come back and Cricket said, "Well, you promised to leave and you didn't." It sounds like more bad choices, more of the show of bad choices, which continue.
You know what? We are going to have to do that. I didn't even think about the bad choices here, and there were tons of them. Nothing like last week, though. Last week was amazing.
But still, there's still bad ones. I mean, why would Shelby call the cops on Lee after all of this?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I mean, I mean, I understand that she's hurt and mad, but after all of the crap that she's seen, she would have to know that something is up.
Right.
I mean, after all that, Matt has been by her side when she's done some pretty crazy stuff in the last, it's not a whole lot of time, but it's the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you think she would have a little bit more empathy about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Once again, if we go back to the idea of we don't know which one is reality and which one isn't, maybe we're not seeing all of those pieces of the story. So when we're thinking,
sure,
well, she's not empathetic here, maybe she's not at all. Maybe what we're getting said by the unreliable narrator is telling us that we're getting that wrong, which is a possibility. Somebody is an unreliable narrator here. I guarantee it.
Oh, sure.
Plus, we talked about it last time. There was the off-camera producer or director. Right. And people are speculating a lot about that. It definitely wasn't Evan Peters' voice. I listened to it. I'm like, nope, not him.
Right.
But there was something about it. The way he interacted with, was it Shelby or Lee? With Lee.
Right. Lee.
That it seemed almost like they were like she was being forced, like she was being captive to do this. Now, it wasn't because you saw her, they got her the water, they did all that, and you're like, okay, maybe they just got the emotions high and they did this. But it just, there was something a little unsettling to me about that interaction. I don't know.
Well, but I mean, in those instances where they are trying to get that story out, I would think that people, tend to, get caught up in the emotions and then say more than they want to say. And then they say, oh, wait, I can't deal with these emotions because they're bringing it back up. We need to stop. And then it's the producer's job to be like, no, you told us you'd give it this story. Let's do it. And maybe there is some kind of extenuating circumstance. Maybe they're in a lot of trouble legally and they need to get out. So this is one way for them to get out.
Oh, yeah. Could be. Now, I wonder, what if it's that? What if this whole thing it turns out is fabricated because they're trying to get out of a bad real estate deal and they're telling this big story, much like what they say happened with Amityville Horror. They say that, this family did this, they sold the rights, they did all this stuff. And now you have this dichotomy of there are people involved in it, people that didn't even profit from it, saying, no, this all happened. There are a few inaccuracies, but stuff that's inaccurate is stuff that is like even further beyond what they exposed. And then you also have the people that are saying it's clearly been, and reliable people saying this was clearly a hoax. They were doing it because they were in a bad real estate deal, or they were trying to capitalize on the how The Exorcist was so popular, and there was a lot to capitalize there. I wonder if that's the route they're going. If they're building an Amityville Horror type story, and it's episode 6, we're going to find out this was a real estate scam, but then all hell actually breaks loose on it.
Right. Like they're doing it as a that's a good one. They're doing it as a scam, and then it really is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, what if it is? And what if it's that never mind. That one's completely garbage. For me to throw it away, it's garbage.
Are we throwing away the alien abduction theory?
No, I'm never throwing that away. Never.
Like Troy's never throwing away that Red is the
mother, the father, the mother. Yeah,
the mother. Yes.
You know what? I actually, at this point, I really don't think it's going to be alien abduction. I think that might be off the table. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say this: it has been rumored enough. They used it in those fake promo pieces.
Right.
They did do some in season 2. I think we have I don't think it's an alien abduction scenario coming up. I think maybe season 7, season 8 is going to be Skinwalker Ranch, which is all alien stuff, all weird transdimensional stuff. Danette, you're wrong. She said, no aliens, please. I think if they did aliens, it would work. And I think if you did Skinwalker Ranch, where it's got horror elements with this unsettling, what the hell, these people move into this, they don't know what's going on, I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I think so too, because they do need to do something a little bit different, but it's really expensive to do aliens. So I don't know if they have the budget for it or not. So
Chris, I saw your note that said leans. I was wondering if you're doing like America.
No, I can't
leans. Leans. That was your tribute to cricket?
That's right.
Everything's a tribute to cricket tonight.
Yeah. Well, when he said, I was eating a Cafe Du Monde beignet, it was so great. I'm like, so I totally want to be there right now because I love New Orleans. I think it's a great town. So,
and now that cricket is walking around, it's even better.
Oh, there's tons of crickets walking around down there every day, all the time. Have you been?
No.
It's the greatest people watching in the entire planet.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me.
It is freak show central. It's great.
I had a friend back when I was an actor. He went down there when the Bears. They were. Maybe it wasn't the Bears. Were they in New Orleans for the Super Bowl? Was that New Orleans?
When they won it, they were it was in New Orleans.
That's where he was.
86.
And he came back and he said, I like the stories he told. Is like it was insane. It was the greatest place ever. And he said, it was so distracting, he almost didn't care. And he was a big Bears fan. He's like, almost didn't care that he was there to see the Bears.
Oh, yeah.
For him,
a spectacle.
He said it was the people. It was the nightlife. And he said it was like, he's never seen anything like it.
It is an unbelievable mix of people. The first time we went down there, we were going on a cruise. We would go down. We've done this 3 times, go down a couple of days early, spend some time, and then go on the cruise and come back and go home. So we're on a plane like red eye, like not red eye, like first plane in the morning on Friday because we want to spend the day in New Orleans. There's these 3 kids, 20 somethings in business suits pounding liquor on the plane. And I looked at them. I go, you do realize, guys, that you have to drink all night. I go, you might want to slow down just a little bit now.
Somebody's gonna be dead.
build up a little bit. I go,
either that or you're gonna be asleep before you even get there.
Exactly. So, we're there. So we get down there. I wanted to see Bourbon Street because I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Not that I was really interested in doing whatever, driving around, but we're walking and I see one of the guys in his suit, all dirty. He's just obliterated. And I'm like, are you going to make it? And he's like, I don't think so. And this was like at 9 p.m.
Oh man.
But I mean,
what a waste of money though. You didn't get to experience it because you got blasted on the plane.
That's what you do. And it's, it's a place where anything goes and everything goes. You literally are walking down the street. They're handing you alcohol because you can drink in the streets as long as it's not glass. Right. There's people dressing, undressing, things being thrown, people going to the bathroom, people doing other things, just wherever. And they literally, I think they just, at the end of the day, they just wipe the street, take off the layer of scum and go back at it.
Fire hose, boom.
I mean, great, like little places to eat, like at 3 a.m, like these great little diners, all sorts of different clubs and bars. It's great.
And cricket walking around.
And the oldest bar in North America is there. I believe it's Jacques Lafitte's, like his supposed hideout in the when he was there, but they've turned it into a bar. It doesn't have power on its own. So when we went there the first time, all it was lit by candles. And then it's funny, they had one poker machine in the corner that was plugged into the neighbors literally through their window. That was the only electricity in the place.
Sounds like The Simpsons. Remember when Homer had the power thing going into Flanders? Why is my bill so high?
That's right. But it was like that, but they have no power. It was all candlelight. It was fantastic. So, but it's a great town. I'd recommend anybody go visit New Orleans. So,
okay. So I got a couple more things here for our show. One is I brought us back to track. Imagine that.
That's a shocker.
We found out that Lee had a daughter previously named Emily, who was abducted. At least this is what we're being told when she was 4.
So that could definitely be hotel. Think about that.
Yes.
That could be hotel.
Absolutely.
Although it doesn't fit in with Lady Gaga's MO, it could have been an abduction from that. So,
or similar.
Yes.
Similar.
Well, it could have been Jacqueline. I mean, and this would be bad to say, but what was Jacqueline Bissette's character? I can't think of the name off the top of my head. She was in LA at the time.
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but yeah, could be. Could just be that type of abduction. We don't know.
Right.
Wouldn't it be interesting if she showed up as a vampire?
Yes. But I mean, Cricket. But
there are no other vampires. No other vampires. Just that. Yeah, Cricket brought it up. I think that daughter, something else happened with that daughter, and that's why he was letting her know that he knew to add legitimacy.
Right.
But if it had been something like she's been turned to a vampire, there would have been some type of indication. I don't think that's going to happen. But interesting thought.
Yes.
We also so we have that story. We also saw what played out with the butcher, and I thought that was interesting too because she actually thought she was doing the right thing. She didn't butcher until Lady Gaga gave her new life.
Correct.
And then she went in, and that scene that was brutal. And then she saved her son when she saved her son, and that was crazy too. Because she had him down and she was going to whack him in the head with something too. What does she care? And she's like, okay, you made it. And then you just hear chop, blood. It was like, wow.
Yeah, it was original. That was like the American Horror Story moment for sure.
Yeah.
We're just going to indiscriminately start killing people. And when the guy got chopped in the head, the first guy and his eyes are still moving. He's like sitting there like, I was like, that's awesome.
Oh, it's so gross. And you saw this split.
It was like right out of Hannibal Lecter with the cleaver. Well,
or I was thinking when they were going through when he was eating the brain out of Ray Liotta's head.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of reminding me of that.
It was good. Well, I mean, and that explains like her with the why she's carrying the cleaver when she gets run over by Shelby, and then the cleaver.
That's her thing. She uses the cleaver. It's her weapon.
Well, and then what about I think the big bombshell is this is where the Roanoke settlement came and settled after they left their other settlement.
And that was really cool too, how they explained that away. And they're like, the tribe moved inland and this is what they did. It was like yeah, this is all making sense.
Right.
I like that they questioned it. I like that they brought it all up, and you're like, they pieced all this together in a way that, nobody knows what happened to him.
Right.
Well, here they have an explanation that you're like, yeah, I could get behind all these elements that were happening, other than a witch came and possessed the butcher or gave the butcher that, okay.
But hold on. We know in this American Horror Story universe that's a very plausible thing.
Yes,
that could happen.
If that universe is the real universe, then yeah, absolutely.
In this setting, I mean, anything goes then. So
we had Shelby find Matt in the woods with Lady Gaga,
right,
and the two hillbillies.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, there's nothing good happening here. But Matt completely oblivious to it, so he was possessed. Right. I think that's going to play out, but it's weird. If he was that possessed and things were going on, why was that happening? Yet the character we're seeing interviewed doesn't seem to buy into it. And he's like, "Oh, I don't remember." No, I think that given the story, at some point that would not be true. So somebody's not fully telling the truth here.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if
because
Shelby
there was no advantage to that happening unless she used Matt in some way.
Sure. I don't know.
Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe it was an illusion.
Right. Or maybe it was just her trying to explain something again. I mean, right. I don't want to go back to the alien abduction thing, but maybe that was
once again, it's a false memory. Yeah, it could be. Could be. Matt agreed to burn down the house with Lee. I agree with that. I think he would at this point. But Shelby got really upset by that. Then she got really upset by seeing what was going on. She's mad at Lee. She thinks this is all weird and inappropriate. She wanted to call the cops, and that brings us to the end. Shelby called the cops.
Yes.
She got Lee arrested. Lee obviously is out because she's not in prison wear in the interviews.
Right. Well, but we don't know. We don't know what's happening with that.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening.
There's a lot of there's a lot of unanswered questions as to what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought, once again, it had a really solid ending. It wasn't that it was a shocker like a couple of them have been, but they keep playing with that. Every commercial break, shocker, goes into the commercial, it comes back, and it pays off.
Right.
The show ends, shocker comes back. This didn't have like a horror shocker. It had a shocker that was more emotional, which is, wow.
It was a plot. It was a plot shocker. It was a But here's the thing. If she's a cop, if she's a police officer, why would she string him up and burn him alive? Why?
She was possessed.
She was possessed, but there's no reason for her, if she did it as Lee, to do it that way. They can't find themselves 10 feet from the house. Right. She would just go out and kill him and bury him in the forest.
Right. But if she did it in that physical body, if she went out and did it, whether she was possessed or not, there is no "I was possessed" defense that she can use to get herself from being arrested.
Right. But there's no proof that she did it, because just because she left doesn't mean anything happened.
Right. So if they can't prove that, and if there really is no way to, if they find proof that something different, that they can say, they can exonerate her, that you did kill him, and they find the daughter, let's say, and the daughter says no, she had nothing to do with it, that would explain why she's out. What happened in the 4 hours? The cops don't care at that point.
Right.
They just care that you didn't do this crime, you didn't do this, there's no crime to investigate. And by the way, your life is in shambles now.
Yes. Well, I don't know how much worse it can get with her. It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad. All right. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm just, I'm really, I'm excited about what's going on. I think it's been a really nice 3 episodes. Well, you know what? One more thing I want to add, just after thinking about it, that you're talking about, it's a hoax, that maybe they're doing it to set up and sell the property or do whatever, is, both Matt and Lee said this is one of those stories that you tell by the fireside, right? And everybody knows it. So why would this happen? And why wouldn't we have heard about this until now? Right. You know what I mean? Where they say, everybody knows this story that's from North Carolina. Everybody knows that Roanoke is from over there. Right. So why is it over here? And are they setting it up? Why is it here? Yeah. I mean, when they're doing it in the documentary, it's like, of course this isn't it. And Which makes you think they're trying to build, the filmmakers are trying to make a Blair Witch story, yet when the cards are flipped, we're going to find out it's all real. Right. Maybe they're going to out Blair Witch. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows where that's going to lead, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I'd like to see, when Kathy Bates gets really pissed off, what's going to happen to the house, because it's been there's going to be some crazy going on. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, it's going to be nuts. All right, I'm going to end it. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. You can find these episodes. They'll be edited down and made into podcasts. So you can find them on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play under Disturbed Podcast. You can also find them on our website, which is southgatemediagroup.com. Follow us on Twitter, as you have seen throughout the episode down here, Disturbed Pod. Find us there. And we have a Pinterest board. Look for Southgate Media Group. There's a really cool board. And we are building a lot in there. Over the course of the next week or so, we'll start adding a whole bunch of memes that we're making and other stuff that are a lot of fun.
And Cricket for
spoiler, Cricket is going to be involved in some of those.
Yes.
Chris, one more time, what's your social media? Where can they follow
Absolutely.
you and ask you questions?
You can find me at theblueboxcafe.com or at Blue Box Cafe or Blue Box Cafe 176 on social media.
And find us on Facebook. Join the Facebook group. Get in conversation there. That is key to everything. Got questions, got theories, just want to give us a little garbage about our background, do it. That's where you can do it, and we will address it here. The other thing is, hopefully by next week, we'll have it worked out that we can start taking some voicemails. Ideally, we'll have it set up before next week, before we announce it there, so we'll actually have some that we can either play on here or that we can edit into the podcast. So,
just, like Rob said, send us a message on Facebook. We've responded. We will respond. We'll get back to you.
And if you want to do an audio one and we don't have the voicemail set up, you could always email us, southgatemediagroup@gmail.com. You can always email it there. Just make a little audio clip. You can do it from your phone and then just email it to us, and we will put it in there. So there you go. I think I'm done. You know what? Let's go look for Rona. Oh no, I've got a better ending. I got a better one. Crow and Towin!
Crow and Towin!
That's it. Cricket out.